Okay, if you guys are out there, this is Bloc Boi. So what's up, coin hunters? This is going to be my first Twitch stream where I'm actually playing the game live. A little bit different than what you're used to seeing versus when I stream from the cameras I typically broadcast from. So you won't see me today, but hopefully everybody can hear me. And I'm just going to kind of post up here for just a minute before I get started to make sure that somebody confirms that I am in fact live and that they can hear me. And then I'll get started. Show you what the Hollywood Twitch looks like. All right, Mike Folksy, thank you. Can you hear me okay? Is it you hear me all right? You guys are probably going to hear some traffic sounds too. But as long as you can hear me, okay, awesome. So, without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. So, what's new in the coin hunt world? Everybody saw the end of month leaderboards. I finished up in second global, which is pretty good considering it was going to be impossible to catch Princess Hyena, since she had basically kind of double the base leaderboard points that I had just from the purple vault. So that's pretty impressive. I don't think we'll see too many months where that's the case. That was like a legendary month. I usually go general knowledge. Canada has 2 official languages, English and French. Top 20 monthly, let's go. That's what's up. Yeah, so I don't know exactly. I'm still trying to figure it out, Mike. I would love to, hey, user vault. I would love to do that where you could see me and the game at the same time. I know that there are some Pogo streamers who are able to do it successfully. So it's just a matter of like troubleshooting it. I don't know. I've also seen some of the Pogo streamers that kind of like I do. I sit at a desk that has a camera set up, and that's their home studio or whatever you want to call it, or maybe they're just using their webcam on their desktop or laptop or whatever. But kind of similar to me, where you're just talking about the game. But I've seen that in the Twitch channel for Pogo streamers, where I mean technically, like I selected just chatting because there's no option for Coin Hunt World right now. But apparently you're able to say, that you're streaming the game, even if they are in there just chatting. But anyhow, so that's just some stuff that I'm working through right now. Hey, what's up, Beats? Welcome to the stream. Yeah, streaming the hunt. So we're just getting started. I'm actually going to go, so I've done a couple things on my social medias where, like I shared a screenshot of Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. So Beverly Hills is an area that I wouldn't typically go to if I were being completely honest. Unless I had a reason to, right? So an example of that would be, if anybody's ever heard of Indochino, maybe they'll sponsor a future stream for me. Indochino is like a place where you can go and get suits made to order. So they actually have somebody in there that, takes your measurements, and then they get you a suit made based on that. And it's, it's bespoke. It's sweet. So I had a friend that was getting married, and he wanted all of the groomsmen to, have their suits custom tailored through Indochino, yada, yada, yada. So anyhow, that was the first time I went to Beverly Hills, to go, because that just happened to be where we have a local Indochino place at, which is awesome, because otherwise, if you don't have a local one that you can go to where their seamstresses do it professional measuring, you kind of calculate your own measurement, and what that ends up looking like is maybe you got to have something remade because they didn't quite make it, or maybe your measurements weren't quite spot on. But anyhow, now that Coin Hunt World exists and Rodeo Drive and Beverly Hills has been turned into a hot spot, I head out there all the time. So like I was saying before, I shared a couple things on my social, showed a snapshot of what it looks like and what I thought was a densely populated area. Little did I know that Canada was literally fishing out of a barrel for the entire month of May. Some of those videos are crazy. The vault density was insane. So we have decent vault density in LA and in Hollywood in general. But nothing like what we saw from those Canadian hunters. Skip the Twitter one. Okay, so here's the thing, right? There's a lot going on right now. So that one, I don't even know what I just did. I'm like on autopilot trying to, kind of talk to you guys while I'm playing. So there's a lot going on. Yes, free keys. I think there's something that's going on with the Twitch functionality though, because when I try to do it, it says you must have you must have Twitter installed to do that or something. So it might be an in-game issue. I don't know. Maybe somebody who has seen an update on that can chime in and comment. But for the time being, I'm just going to skip them. One, because it takes a long time to do that, and I want to keep this rolling. Normally, I would stop, take a photo, etc., but I'm not going to do that right now since I'm streaming. So yeah, I'm going to miss out on a few free keys, but hopefully there's enough in the user vaults. There's a lot of user vaults on the route that I'm taking and where I'm going, so hopefully I'm still plus however many keys from when I started. I think I started with 16 or 17. So you're upset they changed the UV rules. The university campus near me had like 45 U's. Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, just feel fortunate that you had that opportunity to get all of those in such close proximity while you could. You're still going to have a very densely populated area. I'm sure just maybe you'll have to do, an hour and a half walk or something. But honestly, it's kind of unprecedented to have a game anyways that literally pays you in cryptocurrency, something that is an appreciating asset right now. So, take it for what it's worth and get those placed at the next best spot. If you got bounced because of the purge where things were too close together, find the next best spot and expand those hunting grounds, make your local area, even more appealing for people who aren't just right where that spot was. This is tetanus. Yeah, rest in peace, no doubt, man. I saw several photos and videos of some of those areas in like Vancouver and Toronto, and oh my goodness, wish I could have hunted there for a month or two. But I'm still pretty partial to my routes and my loops, and my options that I have available to me. I got 13 keys right now. Oh, you know what? Something I meant to do, I'll do it after. I'm just pull off for a second. Just comment on where I'm at. I meant to look at where I was. Ultraviolet light causes sunburns. Make sure you're using that SPF, folks. For those of you that think that you can't get a good tan if you're wearing sunscreen, that is not true. Ultraviolet rays are damaging to the skin, and that's what the sunblock is helping with. There's your PSA for the day. So we're at, let's see, I wish I had done this earlier because I did some hunting before my stream, and I was like, I don't know, 1,000-something place globally. So I'm 237 right now, global, and in the U.S. I am, oh sweet, 100, that's fun. 100 exactly, all right. So we'll see where I'm at the end of the day after this hunt, or at least at the end of the stream. I will probably keep the stream length limited, and once I end, I might continue to do some hunting, so I'll check in with you guys later and let you know where I ended up at the end of the day, not just at the end of the stream. Bloc Boi, 100th place. Yeah, you don't see it a lot. The first of the month is always, I always laugh because I'm generally hunting up until close of business, last day of the month, right? You guys saw this. If you're new, you just may have learned this month. If you've been here a while, you realize that like at least the last week of every month is crazy. Everyone's going hard to make moves. Those of us have been playing all month long. Like I actually missed a day in the final week, which I almost never do, but I kind of knew I was well ahead because I've hunted a good deal, and then obviously getting that purple vault in Hawaii gave me a giant lead. I saw earlier Excalibur was wondering, hey, Lucian Weaver, thanks for stopping by. I noticed that Excalibur was like, hey, had I printed the OG cubie, would that have been enough to get me into second? And while I don't know exactly whether what I'm about to say is true, I have a pretty good idea of I mean, I've been playing for a minute, and I place at the top of the leaderboards all the time. And I've surprised many people who I passed, and just as many who were attempting to catch me. And I don't think had you printed that, you would have taken over second. So we'll just leave it at that. Leave it a little bit open for speculation. But I don't think that would have been enough. I don't think you were within an epic rarity cubie, excuse me, $100 worth of leaderboard points, which is a lot of points, but I think you were over 100 shy of where I was at just because of the purple vault, if I had to be honest. So the new ESPN, heck yeah. Yeah, Googling green vaults, that's kind of the strategy, right? So just to give everybody a point of reference, so right now I am on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood. I wish you could see me, and I could, if I had access to the front-facing camera where you could see me, I could also kind of like point it out, if I stop, for example, up at this green vault. But instead, I'll just have to give you a verbal description of what's going on. But essentially, I'm on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood, just passing the Saddle Ranch, and that green vault that you see that I'm approaching right now is at the Comedy Store, which is a absolutely famous comedy venue. And so that's where I'm pulling right now. They actually just reopened recently. For a long time, all those things were closed. It's exciting. I can't wait to go see what's going on over here. But somebody said, yeah, they Google all the green answers. I mean, green answers are like, Comedy Store, yeah, you been there, Illusion Weaver? If not, you got to check it out sometime. Green vaults are like the bane of my existence. I got one green key. That's the other thing. Not nearly enough green keys. Guess I got to do more recruitment. All right, here goes. So, if there's sport, I like it when there's sport, because I can usually get some of those. Lifestyle's hit or miss. Well, let's see. In backgammon, if your first roll is a 6 and 4, how can you move? Goodness gracious. Lord. I feel like it's either move over 4 spaces and then 6 places. I'm going to go with 1 piece. Sweet. Yeah, so there you go. You guys got to see firsthand my love-hate relationship with green vault questions. I mean, so I played backgammon as a kid. Not a ton, but I remember specifically learning how to play that game, and it was pretty neat. But when you're like, as a young kid, we lived in a very rural area in the middle of nowhere, so we had games like that. I learned chess, I learned backgammon, all sorts of different stuff, and I don't play any of those games anymore, right? So I remember how the pieces on a chessboard move, but games like Mancala or backgammon, I was so young when I learned how to play them and have not played them in such a very long time. I have no idea. All the above, yeah, exactly. Thanks, Sweeney, and welcome. Googled that. There was no way to answer the question. Exactly. So, hey, man, Illusion Weaver, you guys are doing a good job with some of these stumpers. I don't know. I just wish that based on how often I get green vaults wrong, that there were more opportunities to get green keys. If I'm able to really start cranking out some referrals like Squeamy does, then I'll probably have lots more green keys. But according to the stat tracker within the game, which, by the way, is 100% not accurate for me, Professor Xavier said that they have to manually link some from before what he didn't say, but mine says like I have like 4 referrals and 3 are pending, which is crazy because I'm nearly 100% certain that just from people who have approached me while I'm stopped in the Blockmobile, like that's not accurate even from that. And like one of the guys that says pending is a referral from what I'm assuming would have been the before that Professor Xavier referenced, but anyhow, yeah, I plan on it, Squeamy. So basically, obviously a lot of people have voiced their concerns about the iOS referral process. And, you know, no fault to the developers, obviously. This is Apple is notorious for being weird about their, their ecosystem in the App Store and whatnot. And that's the reason why Android users were several months into the game before it was available in beta for iOS. So I was one of the first, I consider myself to be one of the OGs, I was one of the first iOS guys. I know that, or players rather, not guys. But, there were several people who were playing on Android for months longer than I was. So that just meant I had to, grind a little bit harder to kind of get up on the global leaderboard. So, anyhow, the referral process has been a little bit wonky, and I personally had never tried to refer anyone to the game who used iOS that I didn't personally know, because it's such a cumbersome thing. And then, a outcome of that is often, if linking them to you, right, if getting that actual referral link didn't work, have them like close out or restart the phone and then try to long press the button. I've just found it's very cumbersome, and getting some, like, the final move being like, hey, now restart your phone and then do it again. Like, it's already a lot, right? People want to just, like, in this day and age, people want to press a button and just go. So I've been waiting, as many other people have, which is the only state, that's Pennsylvania. So anyhow, once it's out of beta, long story short, get ready for some referral stats to start jumping, because I've got some different strategies. I'll probably be streaming some of them and putting some on my socials. I'm not going to give away the farm, but you guys will see what I'm up to. There's a lot more stuff going on than just the Blockmobile and, the stickers. So it's going to be fun if you knew all the answers. So for sure, I'm honestly, I'm kind of one of these nerds that knows all sorts of useless information, and that's one of the things about the game that really hooked me initially. Obviously, the crypto was a big part of it too, but I love trivia. I'm one of those guys that, if I'm at B-Dubs, I'm on my phone playing their trivia game. If, I'm at a bar that has, those third-party systems that have trivia, I do that. I've done trivia nights. It's fun. I know lots of random, useless information, which is, kind of what most of trivia is. But, that part, did I just get some purple paint? I'm not paying attention. This is adding another element to an already chaotic process. So, you guys will have to bear with me. For just a minute ago, I was pulled over. I obviously could have pulled out quicker, but, because I'm also streaming, safety is of the utmost importance, so my driver is kind of waiting for me to give cues to go. And if I'm trying to follow everything that's going on. So normally my hunting is a bit more efficient, but oops, did I even get that key? I think I backed out too quick. All right, Squeamy, thanks for stopping in. Yeah, obviously, guys, I love that people, are jumping in between work or whenever they got a minute. That's awesome. I love the support from the community. It's great. Yeah, crazy with referral codes, for sure. I think that everybody that plays the game, the way that beta worked out was very interesting, because had it not been for kind of the challenge of recruiting more people, I think it would have been a much larger audience, and that might not have been for the better, right? So while many of us are very anxious to be able to climb on top of a building and yell to everybody that this cool game exists, and hey, it's as easy as pointing your phone at this QR code or following this link, that's cool. But in a weird way, I'm actually kind of glad that the beta was small. It allowed the community to become really tight-knit. And it allowed the developers, this is actually one of the most important things in my opinion, it allowed the developers to be responsive to individual players, which is kind of unheard of. Even in beta, right? You might have some access, they might solicit certain feedback, But because of how it was on Discord and in Coin Hunt World and Illusion Weaver and Cuckoo Puffs created this forum for open discussion and for ideas to be shared, in real time and all this other stuff, it really made it awesome. So for good or for bad or for worse or whatever, the growing pains of the wonky, I've probably used that term more than once, the little bit cumbersome process of getting an iOS referral are going to be in the rear view mirror very soon, and I'm pretty sure that people are going to be just sharing this game far and wide. And even some of those like stickers that I put out, I wonder, I'm always like, I wonder how many people with iPhones have tried to use this. And it said, not available in your country or whatever. Because just while hunting in the Blockmobile, I've had at least a half a dozen people at stoplights or whatever, maybe I'm pulled over doing a user vault or a Twitter picture, or, maybe I'm just a light, but people like both pedestrians walking around and people in vehicles will say, well, I tried to scan it and it didn't work. And I'm like, iOS, eh? So that's one of the reasons I got this card. So now when a person that's using iOS fails to get to the game while using the QR code, I have a backup that I hand them for them to go and get, the instructions on how to install it. So there's been a couple people. I had one guy that was like, hey, he followed all my socials, and he's like, this guy jumped out of his car at a red light and gave me his card. He's like, instant follow. So, I'm really anxious to see. I want those Squeamy numbers, man. 280 and counting referrals, something like that. What are you up to, Squeamy? Oh, he just left. But, yeah, the devs and the developers in the community are definitely awesome. For sure. That dragon looks familiar. Yeah, man. You got one, right, Xcal? Excalibur? Yeah, exactly. And it's many times, so like those of us who have been here for a long time recall many of the updates basically being contingent not upon when the development team is prepared to push them, but when Apple is done vetting whatever it is that they're doing, right? So I'm not going to complain. Every update and every snafu or hitch in the seamless process, right, is perceived by some people as being like very problematic, and people get mad, and people were very vocal today that the 5K for establishing your HQ was only going to go to new folks, and I was willing. That's fine. Like whatever the developer's decision is. Like if there's something that really messes up gameplay, I'm definitely going to voice my opinion, but I'm not going to be upset when there's let's just say this. At almost every update, there have been people who are vocally upset about changes one way or another. And I guess I just look at it like, I don't know. You just roll with the punches, right? When a new thing happens, like the leaderboard, a lot of people are like, oh, how do you do this? And there is some basic strategy to it, and there's also information that helps you understand, right? That I love that everything's based on the 10-cent, $1, $10, $100, $1,000. Makes for really easy math. And then having other in-game leaderboard point opportunities be connected to something that's tangible, like those tiered values, you can kind of determine where you're at and, make some educated guesses on how things work or where you're at based on certain things and certain movement you see on the board. But being like, a person that plays, a hunter who's striving for top leaderboard positions every month, I might pay more attention to it than the average person. But anyways, where I was going with that is that at every major update, the strategy and what you're doing has to be revised a little bit to compensate for whatever that in-game change was. And I actually think that that's kind of fun, right? Adapting to the changes and figuring out how to best, strategize to maximize what you do and how you get points. Headed towards Beverly Hills. I turned around for a second because I'm going to double back a little bit. Santa Monica, heading out there is really good. So I'm going to Beverly Hills and I'm going to hit Rodeo. And so So I was on Sunset heading west. I could have taken that all the way to Beverly Hills, but instead I doubled back to San Vicente, and I'm going to take that down to Santa Monica and then head west out on Santa Monica. There's this really nice park along Santa Monica, and there's really nothing, like, as you're getting into Beverly Hills from West Hollywood, there's not a lot of stuff going east to west. So, like, if I had kept going down Sunset, there only would have been a couple keys, and then also Santa Monica's a boulevard. So after I hit Beverly Hills, I come back on Santa Monica, and I can't really get stuff on the north side of the street. So there's a method to the madness, but I am now approaching Santa Monica. I'm pretty sure Mom Loves You has a couple user vaults right over here. Probably missing stuff too, because traffic's finally starting to pick back up a little bit out here. So we're, driving within the limits of what's going on. But yeah, it's probably, I think that's one of Mom Loves You's right there. She got the OG cubie. Yeah, buddy. So I love that the new update has screen names or game names rather, on all the user vaults, because I know firsthand, like, I have personal friends that I've referred to the game that, like, refuse to use Discord, right? So I know that there's people that play that aren't in there. And then just based on the number of user vaults and kind of the number of people that I knew were throwing user vaults up in Hollywood, it's obvious that more people who hunt locally don't use the Discord than those of us who do. So now I can actually see those in-game names of all these folks that I've never really come across in the Discord. The unfortunate thing is, like, without somebody knowing them personally, or without them knowing that Discord is a thing, it's very possible to have the game and not even know that Discord is is an option, is a resource. It's like where the community lives, really. The game is great, and playing it without the Discord would still be very fun, but to me, not nearly as fulfilling. The community is probably what makes it the best, in my opinion. So, let's see what's going on here. We've got some Ethereum. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Just missed that one. But that's cool, because that one's on the other side. I can hit that on the way back after I hit Beverly Hills. And you'll notice, too, that there are some things that are just kind of right off the beaten path. So I will bypass a lot of stuff for the sake of expedience, right? I'm all about trying to, as efficiently as possible, hunt my area. And so some of these things that I'll pass, like right now I'm passing green vaults because I have no green keys. But if there's something like just off the way, you're like, oh, we could have grabbed that. I do that towards the end of the month. I get everything. You know what I mean? Like, I will hunt and just scour and grab all the stuff. It's like, if you got to go down this street and you got to go 50 meters just to get one blue vault, on a normal day I might not do that. But when it's like crunch time and I'm going ham at the end of the month, my all gas, no brakes, you'll see me say that a lot towards the end of the month, because it's like, that's where I earn my keep. You know what I mean? I didn't become the number one player in the world by casually hunting, and I didn't become the number one player in the world by not making, like, measured decisions of how to best climb the leaderboard. We'll put it that way. The beginning of the month is often when, new users, they pop up. I don't worry about it. People are like, oh, look at all these new folks. They'll print purples or some blueprints that they've been saving. But unless you've been around for a while, even referrals, like, potentially, right, they can keep, like, Squeamy has said before that he doesn't play a ton, but his referrals, obviously pay very good dividends because they keep him up on the boards. That must be a nice luxury, My massive, I think I can look at that from here. If I go to my friends. Yeah, this is definitely not, this is not accurate, you guys. Not even close. I think I have more immediate members of my family who I've referred and have played the game and established an HQ than I have reflected in those stats. So hopefully they get that sorted soon. I definitely want all of the, there's already a link to the world server, derp, in the game. Yeah, but that's the thing though, is like, so people are either aware of it and aren't necessarily interested in joining it, right? Which, like I said, I know people personally that is 100% the case. But I also would like to believe, I mean, it's impossible that every single person, like, you didn't know about the link and neither did I, and it's in the game. So, you know, I've probably come across it before, but because I already have it, or maybe somebody saw it and doesn't know what that is. But anyhow, you know, there's lots of people that don't care to join, and there's some people that might join if they were just aware. Marilyn Monroe is famous for being blonde, but Norma Jean Baker, which is another question in the game, what is her birth name? She was born a brunette. So it's interesting that she's known as being this bombshell with platinum blonde hair. I would like to think that she would probably have become a bombshell even if she went with her natural hair color. But, you know, it's one of the fun things about being able to change your appearance. Do what you want. Dress how you want. Wear your hair how you want. What color you want. You know. Grow a beard if you can. I love expressing my style through my beard. You know, it's my inner lumberjack. Yeah, exactly. It is a bit of a leap, and it's like a rookie. I'm telling you, though, those numbers are not accurate. Trust me. I promise you, not accurate. But it is a bit of a leap, right? Crypto is a hard enough sell. You know, I had an opportunity to get into crypto years before I did, and you know, you talk about beating yourself up. I try not to think that way. Rock your body. Is that Timberlake? I thought that was before he split up from NSYNC. Maybe not. My bird, yeah. So I missed out on the early windows, right, of crypto, but you know, I did get in several years ago. It's been fun. I love crypto, but it took me a while to kind of wrap my brain around it. And talking to friends, I mean, I was talking to a friend about it last night for a hot minute, and she had so many questions. And you know, she invests into cryptocurrency, right? Doesn't play the game. We were just talking about investments in general, and then the discussion moved into you know, crypto. And yes, it's barely even. I mean, it's just now being adopted by mainstream. You're starting to see it being picked up by investment firms. You know, there's some, like when Tesla grabbed up a bunch of, I forgot, no greens. Tesla grabbed up a bunch, made some money. You know, people. There's a lot of discussion about it, but there's a lot of also confusion about it. So getting somebody to go from crypto and like, hey, there's this game where you can earn crypto. People are very skeptical of that. No one thinks that you can just get something for playing a game, which is also, I mean, like, brilliant, guys. Illusion Weaver, you guys really, you crushed it with that one, because that alone is going to make so many people interested, because as the information kind of like trickles down into more and more mainstream forums or opportunities or even just like communities, that's Amazon, Bezos, pay your taxes, bro. As it expands, the game is going to inherently grow in popularity as well, because people are going to be like, I want to earn crypto playing a game. So it's going to grow organically through the game itself. But I think that as crypto becomes more popular, it's like we're going to see an explosion of users, especially after, you know, if they give us that opportunity, like they had mentioned, for the first phase of beta exit to be organically driven, right? So we another tip of the cap, if you will, to the developing, well, not developers, to the beta testers rather. That's going to be cool. But like once we fully, however it looks, exit beta and it's wide open, we're going to see an absolute explosion of users in the game. Brad Pitt left Jennifer Aniston, America's sweetheart, for Angelina Jolie. Oh, I remember it like it was yesterday. Yeah. I'm not sure. He might be looking back on that now, wondering if he made the right decision, you know. Mr. and Mrs. Smith's co-stars are now separated, divorced. They might have formally divorced. You saying Backstreet Boys? Absolutely. You know, something I love to do is karaoke now. Like, it hasn't been a thing for so long. And even though things are slowly opening up around here, people aren't keen to the idea of spitting into a microphone and then handing it to some complete stranger for him to repeat the same process 5 minutes later, you know, and repeat that for several hours. So I guess the closest thing I've gotten to karaoke recently was Backstreet Boys just now. And then if you've seen one of the first videos I put on my YouTube of opening of User Vault, I stitched in a little Destiny's Child snippet. And I even Weird Al Yankovic'd that one and made up my own lyrics. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out as soon as the stream is over, because that was pretty funny. I was just being goofy. There was a User Vault on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. The stars are, you know, all over the Walk of Fame, and you know, I've honestly never like walked the boulevard to look. You know, you'll occasionally notice them here and there, and like, oh, there's so and so star and whatever. But that day I had jumped out to take that Twitter picture, and literally just randomly pointed at a star, and it was Destiny's Child. So I felt like that was Destiny itself, and a play on words as well, a double entendre. I was like, I'm making a video with this, and put a little, you know, just enough music to where like it doesn't have any copyright issues, and then sang my own version. But that was a fun little video to make. That was one of my first editing experiences that I had. You'll hear traffic noises and horns. People in Los Angeles love to honk at each other. It's no different in Beverly Hills. So, anyhow, karaoke's fun. Serendipitous indeed. But who hasn't sang Backstreet Boys? Come on, Beats. Like, there's certain songs, there's like certain artists, it's funny, right? There's certain artists that you like secretly like but don't want to really admit to, and sometimes, you know, you might inadvertently slip up and like sing along to something, and people are like, oh, you know, Backstreet Boy fan, huh? Oh, NSYNC. It's just funny though, it's so weird. So like boy bands kind of have such a weird stigma that it's almost like not cool to be a fan of them. And while I don't consciously think about them that way, I 100%, actually I know what it is, I'll get to that in a second. I 100% am a bigger fan of Justin Timberlake and as an artist and, you know, his music versus NSYNC. And then so mid-thought I was like, I know what it is. He was the biggest talent in the group, right? He was kind of what the group was built around, much like Destiny's Child was built around Beyonce, right? She's a superstar. And not that Kelly Rowland can't sing, and, you know, not that she hasn't had some form of her own success as a musician. Clearly, the draw was Beyonce. I mean, at least that's what Jay-Z told me. So, so anyhow, I actually am a fan of NSYNC, man. I grew up on some of that stuff, so. Joey Fatoni will not be happy. No, I do, but the question was about Justin Timberlake's song. What question? Joey Fatoni. Was he? He's a NSYNC guy, right? Yeah. I always get the names of people mixed up between Backstreet Boys and them. You know what's weird is, like, so when Backstreet Boys broke up, didn't they attempt a similar, at least a few of them, to become solo artists? And, like, are any of them? I don't even know the name for sure. If somebody said it, I'd be like, oh yeah, it's a Backstreet Boy guy. But in Backstreet Boy had some fire songs. They had some terrible costumes in their video. Like, whoever I mean, it was just a terrible time, probably. Oops, I just missed that. I'll grab that on the way back. So I'm about to turn around up here. This is this. Oh, and I keep forgetting. I'm playing. I'm just talking to you guys. Like, I'm not even really talking about gameplay much, but I meant to. So right now, there's this kind of like service drive that runs just south of Sunset. So Sunset runs through, like, right through the middle of Beverly Hills, and Rodeo Drive is perpendicular to it. So I already passed that. But I come down here because there's like 5 or 6, 7 keys. and I'll grab those and then turn around and come back and then head south on rodeo. So again, there's a method to my madness. I kind of like have looked at my areas and streamlined a route that grabs as much stuff as possible without like unnecessarily taking little like wagon wheel spoke, adjacent trips that deviate from that path in a linear, in a line basically outside of what I'm doing. If they, like I said earlier, if there's like one vault or something like that, I don't mess with those very much. But if there's a street like this where even though if it weren't for all these keys, I wouldn't even come down this far, if it's worth my while, either in terms of, vaults or keys, I will do it. But for one or two, I skip it. So sports, that's an octagon. I'm a big UFC fan. Big UFC fan. I love that they have UFC questions in there. So now I'm headed back. So you guys are going to see a live gameplay of the infamous Rodeo Drive hotspot where I want to say that. So I'm going to start a conspiracy right here. You heard it from Bloc Boi first. Illusion Weaver's going to be like, dude, that's not what happened. But it's just funny, so go with me. I'm saying this half-heartedly, okay? So I don't 100% mean this, but it's kind of a fun thought experiment. So I think that the glitch for user vaults only affected Canada because I know it didn't. Guys, just go with me. I've seen hot spots where the placement wasn't so crazy dense, and I've requested the placement of user vaults that got denied because they were too close. And this was like, I'm using like Google Maps and figuring out like what 100-meter is and trying to place it places where I want. You know what I mean? So I want to start the conspiracy. We call it Canada Gate, that to give those Canadian hunters who were only able to join beta in January, right? They missed out on several months. It was like an effort to get them, up the leaderboards. I mean, we had myself and Princess Hyena, I think, were the only two American hunters in the global top 10. Even though the global top 10 doesn't go to places, doesn't go out that far, which I've made a recommendation in the past that it should, even if 6 through 10 were the same exact structure of the top 5, but in yellow keys instead of red. So, drop a comment in the Discord right now if you think that that's a thing, or hit like on this. I don't know what people say. Just chime in if you think that's a thing. I'll mention it again when I jump back in the Discord, and people pile on, and we'll try to make our voices heard. But all right, so I am about to be coming up on rodeo. I probably won't do the stream too much longer. I wish I had an external view camera when I'm rolling around Beverly Hills, because I'm telling, there is like okay, 3 individuals I just passed. There are some very interesting people all over Los Angeles, right? And then you go to Hollywood and there's some, new interesting people, different than the interesting people that you'll see elsewhere. And then the same thing goes for when you come to Beverly Hills. There's just so many interesting people to look at. It is kind of fun, like I said earlier in the cast, or in the stream rather, that I don't often come to Beverly Hills, but now that, I'm an avid coin hunt player, I come here all the time. But I'm kind of glad that there was a reason for me to come down here, because it's never a dull day while hunting in Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills, it's where I wanna be. Hey, that song? Living in Beverly Hills. I wouldn't want to live here. I like where I'm at. I don't know, it might be fun. Like, when you go into the residential areas of Beverly Hills, these homes are bananas. Some fresh Prince of Bel-Air type stuff. I wouldn't mind having a home like that. But if I could afford a house in Beverly Hills, I definitely would be buying a house somewhere else. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good track. I love Weezer. I was actually just talking about them last night. They came up at this barbecue. I was at a buddy's house, and what is it? Undone, that Sweater song came on, and I was like, I loved this song in high school. It was so good. So good. But yeah, I have a pretty wide range of musical tastes. I'm into everything to some degree. Speaking of music, if anybody is a follower of mine on Instagram, ran into a buddy of mine at the same Memorial Day barbecue I had just mentioned, and he's a phenomenally talented music artist with a new album coming out very soon. His name is Wild the Coyote. Good friend of mine. Just threw something on my Instagram yesterday, just a quick snap of the two of us. But go look for his stuff. Great stuff. Got a new album coming up called Seven Roses. But he's awesome. Like he's one of these guys that has such a unique like musical experience that I think, I hope I'm not biased because I know the guy, but I think that there will come a point when, he's looked at, like, even in retrospect, as like a discovered person. You know what I mean? I was mentioning it to him last night, and it's a weird thing to say. It's not like, I'm not saying that he's not going to become successful, because he already is right now. I guess what I'm saying is, like, I remember a time when I discovered, like, the Rolling Stones or Johnny Cash or some of these really people who were famous and had clearly achieved decades of success, but you kind of like, you got to discover music, especially when it's from decades past, right? Like, some people are into not oldie, but older music, and some people really only listen to stuff that's modern. Like, I listen to a wide range of things, but what I mean is that I could see 50 years down the road, teenagers coming across this stuff and being like, oh man, this is so cool. You know what I mean? This music speaks to me, or whatever. So go check his stuff out. Jump on his socials, check out some of his music. I know, you can get it on whatever, I don't know, wherever you stream your music or buy your music, Apple Store, et cetera, et cetera. It's on Spotify, it's on all that stuff, but check him out. Wild the Coyote. His stuff is jamming. So, as you watch my cubie just kind of like creep, that's basically how Rodeo Boulevard works. You know what? I stand corrected. The Canada conspiracy has just been refuted, because coming down that street, there was a lot more user vaults. And while most places don't have them super close, apparently Rodeo Drive had them too close. So now that I've had a few months to track the success, God, you guys, I wish I had an external camera. This is something you just can't make this stuff up that you witness on a daily basis. So, there's this light at Rodeo and Dayton Way. So, like, you're going south and you're about to get to Wilshire, and there's this little stop. And in LA, they do this thing where, like, people cross in all directions. Anyways, this longboarder came scooting through, like, through the traffic as the pedestrians had the right of way, and, like, as people were finishing up, but there was still a few seconds left on the clock, she, like, came in and did this big, cool, swoopy, I don't know, like, donut? I don't even know. It was just so excuse me. So, it was so random, but hilarious and awesome at the same time. You just get a lot of stuff. I can't wait to go do some live stream stuff from the Boulevard, and by the Boulevard I mean Hollywood. There's lots of boulevards. I live on one. It's a big thing out here, right? The boulevards. But anyhow, I can't wait to live stream stuff from the Hollywood Boulevard, because it's wild. Like, anybody who's been to Vegas, right? So the Vegas Strip is wild. There's, like, street performers. There's just a bajillion people. And it's always interesting, right? It's interesting that people watch. There's so many people on holiday, and just people, tourists from all over, stuff like that. Or if you've been to, like, Venice Beach, same thing. There's a lot of people that perform out there. But
But the Boulevard is just a special kind of different. It's like, there are lots of flavors of pizza out there, right? And there's a different flavor for everybody, and different strokes for different folks, different preferences, etc. But if I could make an analogy and somehow equate the variety of places that you can visit to the variety of pizzas that you can order, Hollywood Boulevard is like a familiar pizza that you've had and seen and tried and probably like, right? It's like a meat lover's pizza. But this meat lover's pizza has like, some really odd meat. if you understand what I'm saying. It's got some flavors involved that you wouldn't normally see on a traditional meat lover. So, while pepperoni and sausage, mushroom and ham and bacon and even ground beef are choices, and maybe like even anchovies. Some people are like, oh no, that's not meat, that's fish, and it's kind of weird. There's a lot of that stuff abroad. When I was in Italy, there was tons of fish on pizza, anchovies and whatever. But this would be like, hey, we put a little bit of raccoon meat in there, and there's also some possum, and there's just some weird stuff, and you're like, wow, it's very, very strange things indeed. If and when I'm able to stream, not if, when I stream from there, I think you guys will see what I'm talking about a little bit. Stonehenge is in the UK. Yeah, man, I gotta pass up these double vaults, these double greens. I have a BQ. I do have a BQ. Something happened. It was weird. Like when the new update happened, it disappeared and then it reappeared with the same person that it was with, who's actually a local person with iOS that I referred. So hopefully now that it reappeared, we're getting ready to do it, and then it wasn't on my map anymore. I was like, what the heck? And then now it's back. So anyways, I know Twitter wasn't working. I'm just gonna do it one more time to see if it. I do have Twitter installed. Ooh yeah, purple paint and 500 resi. Those are my favorites. That one kind of in there. That's a cool little place to walk in Beverly Hills, but for that key, I'm not gonna bother with it. But yeah, I've got to watch those greens go. Oh, I do have a green. Gee, crickets. So one thing I've discovered today is streaming and playing takes a lot more focus and attention than just playing, and I've already done some dumb things like pass the green vault when I just had a green key for it. But fortunately, there's plenty of green vaults that I typically have to pass because I don't have enough keys, and there's one once I turn right on Santa Monica and start heading back towards West Hollywood. There's one that I passed on the way in because I did not yet have a green key at that point. So anybody still in here? Beats, I got a buddy quest. You got a buddy quest? I want a buddy quest every week. I heard that's the like refresh timer. So if you knock it out the first day of your quest, does that mean you should get another one right away? No one knows. But I'll tell you this, in Beverly Hills, there are a lot of very beautiful people to look at. So it's never a dull hunt. Never, ever a dull hunt. Lots of beautiful people, beautiful cars, driving by all of these expensive stores, like Cartier and Bulgari and Louis Vuitton and Fendi and Gucci, etc., etc. It's quite impressive, this collection of rodeo boutiques. Marilyn Manson, beautiful people. Yes. Yeah, lady, you're in the middle of this. Yep. A lot of people just ignore the crosswalks and just start crossing. So you gotta really be on your game and be careful out here as you're driving. So Keyport. It's kind of funny, isn't it? So people are like, I've been accused of sandbagging pretty much every month. And I've never done it. I've literally never done it. I don't hold stuff back. I use all my stuff, I use all my resin every month. I want to see the stat tracker that says how many user vaults you filled. Because I filled a ton. But anyhow, I'm keyboard because I just opened all the keys. Like, look at this. I got 21 blue keys. And the only reason I'll usually at the end of the day have almost none, but then like in the morning I usually have some from user vaults that I start my day with. But I often run out of keys entirely. So there was a couple days ago where I had 0 blue, 0 green, and like the other ones that you see, 3 yellow, 5 red. So after, I think tomorrow I should get the leaderboard keys for this month, which taken second, I only got 4, so now I have 9 red. So even if people were like, hey, are you going to Miami? And, you know, I would love to. I'd love to. But fine, I mean, it was a lot of money to go to Hawaii. And fortunately, I've worked hard to get to where I am in life and can do the things that I do. But I can't chase each and every one. Not only from a financial perspective in terms of what I can or what I'm willing to put into the game from my own pocket, but also because I literally can't. I mean, you guys see it right here, right? This is this week. By this I mean the Purple Vault event is this week, and the Bitcoin conference is this weekend. And once I get my stuff, I'm still shy of what I would need to forge a purple to be able to open that vault. And while it's theoretically possible, I could do key runs, which I call cannonball runs, which I've done before and just bombed and got as many keys as I could. I could do that and forge them and upgrade and probably get enough to where I could just have a purple, and I would literally have almost no keys besides that, and then go give that another crack. But as you guys saw the first time around, it's not guaranteed that you're going to get that right. And while I would love to go get it, I would pretty much just have to hunt 4 keys exclusively up until the day of the thing, and still maybe have enough. I don't know. Anyways, not going to Miami. If a general admission ticket to the Bitcoin conference fell into my lap somehow, I would go to Miami, and I'd get the Purple Vault too. But that was actually so. As people were speculating, I mean, you're spot on. I was doing my due diligence and working through the logistical considerations of what a trip to Miami would look like, and et cetera, et cetera. And as I was getting deeper and deeper into, my pre-planning, I came across the actual Bitcoin conference page where you can, see the general admission. The ticket price is basically for the conference. So it originally I had it in my mind that it was like a more of like a Comic-Con, right? Like a conference of people who are fans of Bitcoin. But as it turns out, and as the pricing suggests, it's a much more exclusive and smaller, more intimate venue where really like the crypto whales and people who have made a considerable amount in the crypto game, which I can 100% say I am not. I might be a whale in terms of coin hunt world, right? But in terms of my overall crypto holdings, I've really only been putting a little bit here and there into crypto for a couple years. But I also invest in a lot of stuff, right? So it's unfortunate to kind of have that 2020 vision when you look back at your investments and see which ones have done well and which ones haven't done great, and some that might have lost, and it's hard not to be like, oh, if I had only put, in February of 2018, I bought this much Doge, but I bought this much Litecoin, and the Litecoins only made this much, but the Doge's made, I try not to do those hypotheticals because you're only going to get upset with it. You guys are still there. It was a pretty quick download. I got the 9.1 update. I just pulled off this little side road real quick, so I'm going to turn back around and resume. So if anybody could, for me, please, can you just confirm I'm back live and that you can hear me? So the last thing that I saw, yeah, we're back. That's right. Cool. All right, so who wants to see me go just finish the LACMA crane right now? If anybody wants, the fire truck going by. Hey, quick question. How loud is the traffic sound when as I'm doing this? You guys hear a lot, or is it decent? Like that fire truck you probably heard. But it's weird because normally I have a really good stereo system. I love music, so I outfit all of my vehicles with some aftermarket stuff, right? Because factory systems usually are decent at best. So even like the designer ones, right? Like the Harman Kardon system that I have in the car that I hunt in, the Blockmobile, you know, it was like lacking bottom end. Most systems are. So I added a small sub. So normally when I ride around hunting, I'm jamming and don't pay much attention to all the sounds of the city because I'm listening to music at a relatively not high volume. I mean, I guess kind of. I'm bumping, you guys, for lack of a better term. I'm rolling around bumping out here in these streets. You know, Bloc Boi don't half step. I'm out here hunting and jamming. So it's a little bit weird. So most people stay in what they call the Olympic Village. How weird would it be, though, if you were an Olympic athlete and you had to go somewhere and stay at a campsite or a budget hotel or with friends? You're competing with the world's best athletes at your specific event. You got like a cousin or somebody you can stay with? Hilarious. So we're just now crossing over San Vicente, and I mention that because that's the north-south street that I use to cut from Sunset down to Santa Monica before I headed west to Beverly Hills. So it's hilarious because if anybody is an SNL fan, and there's this skit that they do called The Californians, and it's so funny because if you live out here, you're like, bro, it's so good because so many things that you say is like in reference of where you're going or what you're taking to get there, or you're like, where are you at? Some people in certain places might be like, oh, hey, I'm at, name a specific like destination here. Like, hey, I'm at the whatever, the bar. I don't know, just somewhere that you'd go, right? Like, I'm at Walmart, okay? But instead you're like, oh, hey, like I'm off Wilshire or I'm south of whatever, you know what I mean? Oh, I'm in West Hollywood, you know, south of whatever. But the funny thing though is that they just like make such a parody of it, and the skits are so funny. They're like, just take the 101 to the 5 and then go up to the, you know, go to the 405. No, don't take that. Like, the 405 is terrible. You're going to take San Vicente south until you hit Wilshire, go west, then get on the 405. It's just hilarious. You have to kind of traverse LA enough to truly appreciate it, but it's pretty hilarious. Olympians stand the best Western, right? For sure. The Motel 6. What's like the stereotypical one that's just like crappy? I don't even know. I don't know. I have to go back home, figure out. So just honking and peeling out. I'm not peeling out. I drive responsibly. My co-pilot is a very careful driver. I'm actually a bit more of a race car driver myself. I had a race car. So Jordan came back to basketball from baseball in 1995. I remember it well. He was a phenomenal basketball player, and it's interesting. He was such a good athlete. He's like, I'm going to go ahead and just try to play professional baseball because I can. There was some other two-sport athletes, right? Deion Sanders did it. Bo Jackson did it. And I don't think anybody did it as good as those two. Deion Sanders was pretty spectacular in both sports. Bo Jackson was absolutely untouchable. And, like, had it not been for the fact that he was such a beast and was trying to run through a tackle that most dudes would just have went down. He actually, for those of you who don't remember, he dislocated his hip, and he couldn't recover from that, especially not in football. He did baseball a little bit more, but it was just, you know, that's a lot. I can relate. Having just had my hip replaced, my once glorious days of athletic prowess are far behind me, and I can completely understand how, you know, if you were like at the absolute peak of a sport and have a minor injury, you might be able to come back. I love Japanese horseradish, by the way. Wasabi, sushi, fire. So many good sushi spots out here. But I get it because, you know, you can't, like, it's just you can't quite return to that level. But anyhow, back to Jordan, attempting to be a two-sport athlete. was not the greatest baseball player. And I mean, you don't often see 6'6" guys playing baseball, right? Except for maybe like Randy Johnson. And he was a pitcher, so his length was advantageous to him, and he could just sling it. But like those tall guys are better suited for different sports, really. I mean, you're like a giraffe. You got to bend over like 7.5 feet to get down and get a ground ball. I guess they'd be good maybe as outfielders, be able to like snag home runs. They were like, hey, that was going to go into the upper deck, but Manute Bol just snagged a 480-foot home run, stolen. But yeah, so he returned from trying to be a baseball player and was still the best basketball player in the world, and they've won some more championships. It's wild. Imagine if he had just not, I don't know. It was interesting. He was a very big golf fan, which I love golf. And he was very competitive, and rumor has it, bet a lot of money on golf over the years, like himself playing with friends like Charles Barkley. And even Cologne had set. Charles Barkley once apparently I've never seen any footage of him before he developed that horrible hitch in his swing. But it's hilarious. If you've never seen Charles Barkley hit a golf ball, do yourself a favor and Google that. But anyhow, I was a big Jordan fan. I'm a big fan of vintage Air Jordan shoes. I've had a lot of people ask, some of the stuff that I posted earlier. I was in some Twitter photos when I was in Beverly Hills. I was wearing some limited edition Jordan 4s, my favorite Jordan. I love Jordan 4s, 5s, and 6s. Those are probably my favorite 3. There's some other years that are great too. Certain collaborations I like. There's some other ones that I like too. 10s and 11s are good. But anyhow, I'm wearing 2 different versions of the the Jordan 4 Motorsport. Right, there's a home and away version. There's like a home jersey, away jersey-ish colorway. And then also there is something called the What, which they're doing different series with, where the right shoe and the left shoe look different, right? They're stylized differently. They have a different colorway, etc. They've done it multiple different ways and different styles. But when people see me wearing one black shoe and one white shoe, just keep in mind that those are limited edition vintage Jordans that I created as an homage to the What because they're 2 different colorways. Just something I did for fun. So people are looking at them like, what is this dude doing? Just having fun with my shoes, folks. Having fun with my shoes. Leaving work, heading to LACMA. Mom loves you. You better hurry. No, no. You obviously are going there to hunt the fertile LACMA hunting grounds. Not specifically for the cubie crane, but I know that Mom Loves You and I have been definitely diligently filling that crane with all of our resin because we miss the fact that we used to have a local yellow vault. Everybody trust me, folks, when you have the ability to go locally and scoop up, even though it's once a week, scoop up this yellow vault once your crane gets constructed, you're going to be like, what? This is so cool. And having that and then having it taken away was a little bit of a bummer. But I'm glad they put one right back there. And I also like that there's one downtown. That's also my stomping grounds right next to LA Live and the Staples Center and the LA Convention Center. There's like a big area downtown where multiple venues. They host music, obviously sports. Staples Center is big on that. Concerts, different things. They have all sorts of stuff going on around there, The LA Convention Center, I think it's hosted Comic-Con before. All sorts of stuff, but I just got that one, Cologne. What do yellow vaults typically drop? Well, all vaults drop crypto with the chance to get other stuff like resources and keys and etc. But vaults are where you get your crypto. And yellow vaults always drop $10 worth of crypto because that's what the yellow tier is, right? So the game makes it really simple for us. As you go from blue to green to yellow to red to purple, each successive or subsequent vault value is 10 times the last. So whereas a blue is 10 cents, a green is $1, a yellow is $10, the red is $100, and the purple, as those of you who watched my Hawaiian experiment, we'll call it, Operation Purple Vault, as those of you who watched are well familiar, those purple vaults have $1,000 of crypto in there. Don't apologize. You're new. That's what the community is for, really, is to kind of help the new folks learn how to play the game and what it's about, and help you strategize and maximize your efforts in the game, and make sure that you guys are having the best experience possible. That's not required of every player, but that is definitely what the coin hunt community has become. And if you are new, bad fishy, I would encourage you to join the Discord. It's a chat server specifically for the game community, and there's so much good information there that all of your questions can be answered. And there are lots of moderators on the board who are super helpful and also know shortcuts that make answering questions that are asked often, and makes answering those questions very easy. So go check that out. The free plug for the Discord. If somebody wants to do Bad Fishy a solid, drop that Discord invite link right there in the Twitch chat, if you don't mind. And unfortunately, your lady and you are the only locals at the moment. That's really not unfortunate. Just feel excited that you've got somebody to hunt with locally, because I'll tell you what, there were times when I was doing it by myself. There's times when I was doing it with some friends, and the times with my friends was by far my favorite coin hunting memories. There was a span of time during quarantine where, like, LA was locked down, and like there was nothing to do. So you were either sitting in your apartment, or for a while I was convincing a few of my friends to go hunt with me. I was like, you're gonna sit in here and watch Netflix, or let's go make some money and like just roll around. It was fun. And as things slowly open up, some of my friends are doing less and less hunting and kind of returning to their normal life, which I completely understand. And I've just been rolling with the game and hunting as much as possible. So what I found is that as I typically hunt solo now, when I can, I call some of my friends that might be hunting elsewhere, and we chat more. And one of the things that me and some of my friends from out of state have said about the game is that we love the game not only because it's fun and because you can earn crypto, but because we've actually talked more lately because of the game than we had in the past. And it's nice to kind of catch up with friends, especially when you have a new, exciting common interest like this game. You have Link. Thank you, though. Word. Check that out. Yep, building a local team is important. At least you've got another fellow hunter, and if it's your partner, that's awesome, because you guys can obviously, coordinate and figure out ways to get friends, and et cetera, hunt together, all those good things. If you've got an easy enough way to get each of you to a location, make sure you add each other as buddies. It's funny because my friends list is like, oh, it's actually the perfect opportunity for me to mention this. Hey, folks, I love getting new friend requests, but you want to know what I do with every friend request that I get? I just hit no because I get so many. Like, I'm the top player in the game, and I'm sure that that's why I get most of the friend requests that I do, because people are interested in, kind of like being part of that Bloc Boi family. And I love that, and I appreciate it. But I can't accept all friend requests, because the reason that I got to that point where that's my automatic response to every request that I get is because I've gotten enough requests where I go in the Discord, which is the only way, if I don't know you personally, the only way I have any hope of talking to you and therefore coordinating a buddy quest is through the Discord. And if you're not in the Discord, which many people aren't, or are in the Discord under a name other than their Coin Hunt World name, I have no way to communicate and coordinate with you. And pretty much at this point, the only reason to have an in-game friend is to complete buddy quests. So it's kind of counterintuitive for anybody to request somebody that they don't know personally, or at least, somebody they haven't spoken to in Discord, or at least somebody that they can confirm is active in the Discord and therefore accessible. So there's your nugget of wisdom for the day. New users, add friends, but do so using the buddy quest channel within the Discord to say, hey folks, I'm new and I need friends, I play enough. Maybe wait till you're established, you've been playing for a minute, and people can see that you've actually made some posts and said some things in the chat, and they're more likely to add you. So it's nothing personal, and I would never decline a buddy because I only real world know a handful of people in the game. So most of my friend lists are people who play the game who I've either spoken to, or I've occasionally gone in when I kind of expend all of my current lists. Once you complete the quest, you're not going to get another one with those same friends, so you kind of got to add them over time. And I will go into periodically the buddy quest chat and say, hey, for the next 10 minutes, accepting friend requests for people who are active in the Discord, right? I've done that before. And that, 10 minutes, that's enough. Then you got enough to keep you going and doing buddy quests for the foreseeable future or whatever, you know what I mean? So just make sure that you are using the buddy quest channel, I guess, is my biggest piece of advice. Are we on our way to LACMA? You know it. What's up, Whitmore? Sycamore, thanks for joining. I am, am I on my way? Here's a little peek. Right around this corner. Whoa! Whoop, whoop. There it is. So this whole compound that you can see between the corner that I'm at now and that crane is LACMA, right? So this is a museum. They've got some exhibits. They have this thing that I call the Death Star, which I'll have to share a picture with at a later date, but some cool stuff. And then past that, so you see those two keys off there, and then kind of that walkway that cuts through the middle. So on our side is LACMA, and then beyond that is like the La Brea tar pits. So that cubie crane, though, is ironically very close to a real-world crane that is about those same physical dimensions, which is hilarious. So I think I took an in-game Twitter picture at one point and shared it to my Twitter, I want to say, of the real-world crane that's right in front of that, because you'll see right now that there's a user vault very close to the crane. So that user vault gave me a Twitter box, and I took a picture of the vault and was like, here's the real-world location of the LACMA crane, ironically, also a crane. So that's kind of neat. But, yeah, I'm about to get over here, and so earlier I was talking about how I don't sandbag, and I don't, but check this out. So I've mentioned before that I fill every user vault I come across if I have resin. And the only time that I stopped doing that is when the crane was introduced, and now I put my resin in there instead, because that to me is more important for the community to have. Okay, guys, so I stopped the stream and then restarted it because some people were saying that there was no sound. Can anybody verify whether me restarting the stream fixed it? Oh, we're back. Okay, sorry about that, folks. Fortunately, I'm just kind of like, it's like just a free-form thought experiment. I'm just rambling. I don't even really remember exactly what I was saying. Oh, I do. Well, one of the last things that I was saying is that I spend all my resin. I don't know if you guys caught that. And so when the purge happened, I got a bunch back. And if I had sandbagged, like I've been, I don't want to say accused because I don't feel like it. People have speculated. It's been speculated that I sandbag, and I tell people I don't. I spend all my resin. A testament to that is the fact that I got back enough resin to finish this myself when the purge happened. So I have 170,000 right now. So I had to turn around on Wilshire because the eastbound lane is not close enough to it to get it. And then so I'm just going to pull up over here right by this crane. Okay. And so here we go. Fill these packets. Let me turn my blinker off so you don't have to listen to that. Alright. Oh boy. It's taking them. But I was saying it would have been cool if I had sandbagged so that I could have finished the LACMA thing first. But I appreciate what the Canadians did. Alright, moment. Oh shit. Ah, shoot. Hey everybody. Guess who I just ran into? You want to get in?
Okay. We can't hear you on the streaming.
Well, they said that they couldn't, and then I restarted it, and now they say they can. Can you guys hear me? If you heard somebody else, that is none other than Mom Loves You.
Hey.
So here I go. I'm dropping the last one in right now.
Okay, go for it.
Boom. And then, whoop, there she goes. It's doing stuff. It's moving.
I haven't even.
Crashman said, "Hi, Mom."
Hey.
Who accused you of sandbagging? Oh, Squeamy, I think you have before, actually, if I'm being completely honest.
I have too.
So, everybody might have at one point. But I'm telling you guys, I don't. I was mentioning that. I said a testament to that is that when they did the UV purge, I got a bunch of resin back. That's how I was able to finish it just now.
Okay.
So, yeah, I've never had. That's actually the highest balance I've ever had in resin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, you must have filled a lot of people.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I just mentioned earlier that on the stat tracking discussion, I would love to see things like that. How many you have. How many you've touched versus how many you've completely filled, or just, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But Squeamy said hello.
Hey,
Illusion Weaver said hello.
Hey, Illusion Weaver. Oh, it's building, man. I see it moving.
Yeah, so it was sleeping for a long time. He actually woke up. It's exciting. Look at him go.
I know. I was going to put some resin in yesterday, but when I got back into town, it wouldn't take my resin.
Yeah, well, so they just fixed that with the 9.1 patch that came out like 5 minutes ago. I actually came by earlier and tried to do this.
Yeah.
It was like the whole purpose for my stream today.
Yeah.
And then it wouldn't take it. And the last time I put some in, it did work. So I don't know. But anyhow, now it works, and there we go. So we're going to have this yellow vault built in a week.
Yay.
Yeah, Squeamy said, good to see LA back in the Yellow Vault Club. Tell me about it, man. We got a week to wait, but it's coming.
Dang, what am I going to do with all this resin?
All right. Well, there's one at Staples Center, and there's also one at Griffith Observatory.
Yeah.
But there's also people, putting their user vaults up still.
Trust me.
You'll figure out where to put it. Yeah, exactly.
They moved that user vault that was right next to it, too.
Yeah. Oh.
Remember there used to be one like
they took it away?
I was wondering how that got approved.
Yeah. I wish I'd known about the glitch now that I've seen some of those Canadian maps.
I know. I was just saying, how come none of mine?
You were able to do that? That's what I said. I actually mentioned earlier during the stream that I thought I was half joking, that it was a conspiracy that they were just hooking Canada up because Canada joined the party late. They only started in January.
Yeah.
And then as I went down Rodeo, all those ones on Rodeo were like too close to each other, so they're gone.
I was looking at you streaming. I go, dang, it doesn't look the same anymore.
No, for sure.
Shoot.
But at least, if nothing else, having those so close together is one of the things that got me to actually hunt Beverly Hills, because I never went out there before that.
No.
But
I'm feeling you. I was like, I don't need to go to Beverly Hills.
Yeah, exactly. Earlier in the stream, I was just talking about how Beverly Hills is just such an interesting place to kind of drive through.
I work in Beverly Hills, but I don't need to go there.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, if I need to go there, I will. I've went there in the past for a specific reason, but this is the first time I've ever really casually driven through Beverly Hills on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Quickly reminded of my place in the socioeconomic world, which is not in the same world as the folks over there.
Okay.
But cool, so this is exciting.
Cool.
There it is, and I'm glad thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. And that was not planned. She just happened to be hunting the ground. And as always, good to see you.
Yeah, I gotta go hunting now.
Yeah, throw it. See you later. So one thing I was doing earlier, guys, is checking where my leaderboard position was based on when I started versus where I finished the stream. So I'm going to wrap it up here a minute. Bye, Mom, they said. So special guest appearance. I mean, I love that, right? It's so now my car obviously is super recognizable, but it's just ironic because these are her prime hunting grounds. And she was the first person that spotted me in the wild in the Blockmobile. So now it's like, hey Mom, hey Bloc Boi, you know what I mean? It's just really cool. So anyways, where am I at now? Who's Cammy? I got one more person to jump over. So I was 100 in the States. So if Cammy's Canadian, I'll be number 1 now in the country. Yep, there we are. So there you have it, folks. I guess that could be called tutorial on how to jump 100 places on the leaderboards in an hour. But anyhow, I'm kidding. So that's obviously only realistic or feasible due to the circumstances of the UV purge. Well, I guess not. You know what? Anybody could sit there and stack up their resin until they had enough to do what I just did, and then on the first day of the month, you know what I mean, go from zero to hero. But anyhow, I plan on doing some more streams soon. I want to thank everybody who's tuned in, and especially for those of you who jumped in on the chat. I loved seeing Illusion Weaver pop in, and I love running into Mom Loves You again out while she's hunting, I'm hunting. That's pretty cool. So anyhow, thanks again for everybody. Keep stacking sats, and until next time, Bloc Boi out.